of the things that makes a Mobius is the twist. It's a 180-degree twist, and when I design my projects, I do it by making a simple straight row in the beginning and then adjusting how I'm making my rounds to put that twist in. Alternatively, you can work your Mobius flat and then have a short seam this way, but I like this a lot better, but it's really hard to write in text, so we're going to take a little close look at how to go ahead and make that stitching. So I'm going to show you how to do it with single crochet. It also works with double crochet or any other stitch that you have your mind on, but a lot of people ask, I have a pattern called arches that is wildly popular and people get confused about the arches cowl. So I begin with a row in the middle, not a round, because I think it's easier to see the math if it's a row, not a round. And you may also notice that I am putting my first row of stitches in the back or bump of the chain because I think that gives me a neater edge. So the bottom mirrors the top, and because I'm going to have to work in both the bottom and the top, I want them to look the same. So I'm coming up to the end. This is just a little 20 stitch swatch, so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm coming up to the end of my row. Now usually instructions will say something like form into a ring and twist the work 180 degrees. So by twisting the work 180 degrees, we mean you're going to take the other side and flip it once. So this would be 360. 360 would be an entire circle. We don't want that. All right, so this is where it is. You know all those instructions that say be careful not to twist? Here we want you to twist. We just want you to do it very specifically. So now this is the top of the stitches I just finished, and this is the bottom. By rotating this piece 180 degrees, I'm actually going to start the round by working in the bottom. I'm just doing some random chains and stuff here because I want to get to the point where it matters. And it'll say work all the way around till you get back to the very beginning. You know what, just for the sake of visuals, I'm going to put a stitch marker on that very first stitch. Again, I don't need to. Generally, you can see when you when you find it, you see it. But I'm going to put a stitch marker there just to illustrate my point. So again, I'm not doing any kind of real stitch pattern here. I'm just sort of making some chains and single crochet so we can get to the part that matters. While we're doing this uninteresting part, please feel free to like the video and subscribe to my channel for all kinds of crafty content in knitting and crocheting and sewing and crafts and whatever else I just sort of randomly get up to. All right, here comes the tricky part. So here's, let me get the hook out so you can see what I'm doing. So here's where I started, and I went around, and I'm on the bottom of that single crochet central row, right? And I'm coming back to the join. So now instead of staying on the side I was working on, I'm flipping to the other side. So I'm working on the other side of that row. Technically, I'm working now in the top of the stitches. What was the top of the stitches? So it was here, but now I'm going here. So I'm continuing to work. But when I come to what should have been the end of the row, instead of working some on one side and some on the other side, I'm working on both sides of that foundation row. Now, does this line up absolutely perfectly? It does not, but when I'm weaving in ends at the end, I can make sure that those two guys are attached, and that is particularly important when you have a central row of a double crochet or something taller than a single. So now I'm still working around, I'm still working around, I'm still working around. And see how I have stuff going on under there, but now I'm working on the other side. So this is now my center. Now look, I'm coming back up to my first marked stitch. So usually what you're doing, again, it'll depend on the pattern, it'll tell you you're joining the round in that first marked stitch. And I'm going to put the marker back in. So now I'm going to continue around doing whatever stitch it is that the pattern calls for, but look how this works now. So I'm going to stitch here and here and here and here and here, and I can keep orienting the work so I can get at the side that I need, and here and here and here. Notice I have not changed sides because there's only one side to the work. And look, I'm back. I'm back at the very beginning. So a Mobius has one side. Not two. And you will begin and end in the same place. The only thing that is the least bit tricky is getting it set up, which I've just showed you how to do. So I hope this helps. I will put a link below to the Arches Cowl, which is the one I get the questions on. But once you have the hang of this, you can make all kinds of different center out Mobius projects without having to think too hard about the math. So thanks so much for joining me here on Hooked for Life with Mary Beth Temple. Please subscribe to the channel for fresh content weekly on knitting, crocheting, and other yarny stuff. And I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Bye-bye.